Hi, I've not long watched this Steve McQueen film, one of the small acts films that he's written and directed, that he's done to tell the stories, true stories, of the experience of Black people in the UK. And so the reason why I'm talking to camera today is because when I watched the film, there was something in that film that really touched me. It moved me to tears. And it moved me to tears because a story that I recognise. And what I didn't realise, though, was that there was actually a policy in this country to do the things that happened to so many young people with skin the same colour as mine. So my story is this. So just imagine I'm a little girl going to school. I can remember my first day in school, how disappointed I was, because I thought going to school was all about learning, and having gone to school to learn, I spent my first day in school colouring in. Yeah, colouring in. I was devastated that I'd got dressed, turned up at school to spend the whole day colouring in. Now, everybody else might have thought that was fun. I was just so bored. I thought, this can't be school. Surely this can't be school. Anyway, put that to one side. Fast forward a few years later, year 6, I came to the end of the reading series, and myself and my best friend at the time were neck and neck with each other, reading the same books. Anyway, the day that I finished reading my book, I went to the teacher to give her the book. She did her Q&A to make sure that I'd really read the book. So we went into the Q&A, I answered the questions, and then waited for what should have been my new book. And she said, "Fiona, you've read all of the books that there are to read. So I don't have another book for you. Just choose any book, just choose any book from the library. That'll have to do." I was mortified because I was looking forward to the next more challenging read. I looked in the library and they were all baby books. So I went home disappointed, and I thought, well, that's just the way it is. However, a couple of days later, my best friend finished reading the same book that I'd finished, and she was given another reading book, and that's announced to the class, "Oh, class, such and such has just finished this book and she's moved on to this series of books." And I thought, she's just finished the book that I've already finished. She's moved on to another series. I've not been given the same series. That's not fair. So at home, I told my mum what had happened. I didn't realise that my mum went to school, because she didn't say anything. I knew she'd listen, but she went to school to speak to the teachers. And I know now that, I overheard conversations that my parents had where teachers had told my mum that she was pushing me too hard. They told my mum that she was putting me under unnecessary pressure. And I can remember my dad saying to my mum, "You know what Fiona's like. You can't tell Fiona not to read. She just wants to read. Girl's always got her head in a book. She won't even watch TV. She just wants to read." So those were conversations that I'd heard, didn't fully understand because I was a child, 6 or 7 years old. Anyway, what happened at school was this. I was called to the front of the class, and it was an announcement. "Class, come on, listen, I've got something to tell you. Fiona, come here." So the whole class, eyes on me. And because I'm such a well-behaved child, I thought, this is an accolade. I'm going to be, given some kind of award because I was a well-behaved child. And I waited, and the teacher then proceeded to tear a strip off me. She said, "Class, I want you to know something very important about Fiona. Perhaps you didn't know that Fiona is a liar. Yes, she's a liar and a telltale. And you all need to know that. This is what Fiona's done. She went home to her mum and told her mum that she doesn't have a reading book. And we don't like liars, do we, class? No, we don't. So I'm there, embarrassed in front of the whole class, being accused of being a liar, knowing that I'm not a liar, totally confused. She explained to the class that I told my mum that I didn't have a reading book, and that was true. I didn't have a reading book. Then she said to somebody in the classroom, "Can you bring me Fiona's box? Because we didn't have desks. We had a box with all of our equipment in and our books and things." And this child obediently brought the box to the front. And she said to this child, "Show me what's in Fiona's box." And this child obediently lifted up a reading book, the same reading book as the girl who was at the same level as I was in school. "What is this?" And the child said, "A reading book, miss." And she said, "There you go. She's told her mother that she doesn't have a reading book, and what is this in her box?" Yeah, that is what happened to me. And I learned a lesson that day. I learned a lesson that's really helped me in life, and that is that unfortunately there are people in life who are there to help you by supporting you and encouraging you, and sometimes they don't do their job. However, if they don't do their job, for some reason there was something in me as a child that made me think, she is not setting the rules for my life. And so in spite of the humiliation, I just worked hard anyway. I really developed a pretty tough exterior, a sort of, well, I don't care what you think attitude. I'll do it anyway. It did impact me negatively in a series of ways. But one thing it did do for me is teach me not to rely on other people's opinions of who I am, not to be reliant on what other people think, and to know deep down that there are things that I want to do that other people want to stop me doing. There are things that I'm capable of that other people who should be helping me aren't going to help me. So it's not a bitter, angry story. It's just a story of realisation that there was actually a policy in this country that was written to stop me learning. People actually wrote a policy to stop me and people like me from learning. And I'm just here to say, in spite of the policy, I'm here doing a PhD. I'll have you know. But my concern is that for everyone that there is like me, there are probably hundreds who didn't push through the way that I did. There are probably hundreds and thousands of young people who were failed by teachers like that one, who didn't achieve what they were born to achieve. And that saddens me. It really, really does. And I'm telling my story because I'm glad that I managed to do what I did and that I'm doing what I'm doing. However, I am so sad that there are people, maybe you're one of them, who was on the wrong side of this policy. And my message, I suppose, for you is, I don't believe it's ever too late to catch up with things that you feel you were born to do. So if you can, and I know it's difficult, but if you can, and if it's a dream that you've held in your heart for years, try and find a way to pursue that dream. And if it's something to do with education, there are lots of opportunities that we can take in this country. So yeah, send me a message, ask me a question. My background is in teaching. If I can help, guide, support you in any way to help you achieve that dream, yeah, send me a message, ask me a question. And if you've got a similar story, an inspiring story, I'd love to chat. I'd love to chat. Send me a message. I'm going to stop now. There's so much more that I can say, but I've spoken for nearly 10 minutes, so I'm going to stop. Take care. God bless you.